I'm Judith Sleavin. I play with glass. I'm a glass artist. I also enjoy working in my garden, spinning wool, knitting, babysitting my almost grandson, being part of just the local community. I'm going to be getting married in September, and then my fiance is building us a house on his family farm, and so I'll be living on a farm. I do a lot of plates, fused torchworked elements, the relief with the fiber paper to sell in the open studio, but I'm also working on larger pieces in conjunction with a bronze artist, Christina Dimitro, and so we're collaborating. We've done 2 projects with the vitrograph kiln, and I do a fused background with all vitrograph, cane on it, and she does bronze on top of it. And then we're working, call for entries for public art, and we're doing proposals for that for much larger projects. Well, the glass happened in New Zealand. I ended up in New Zealand after a very tragic collision. I didn't think I was going to survive. My family died, and I just needed to tell somebody what the story was. The guys that picked me up in the helicopter, I was trying to tell them the story because I didn't think I was going to live long enough to make it to the hospital. And then they told me after like 3 days that I was going to live, and I didn't really want to. Before we left, both my husband and I were working like 60, 70 hours a week in childcare and hardly seeing our kids. And then all of a sudden one day we're on the boat and we've got each other for 24 hours. It was the most beautiful experience. We did 3-hour watches every single day on that boat trip, so you never get a night's sleep, completely. But it was a really beautiful lifestyle, beautiful community. Other boats, some boats had kids. Kid boats would kind of stick together, and so it was an extended family. Really a great experience. Michael was just always smiling, always positive, a really good father, and a hugely competent sailor. He could run that boat completely by himself, but we shared in most of the responsibilities. We used to call Ben the little captain. After 2 years, he said he was ready to start helping with steering and taking watches and things like that. And we never let him do it by himself, of course, but he was really good about that. And he used to save her clothes in a bag that she outgrew, and especially shoes. And when a dugout canoe would come out, she'd try and trade for things for Ben. And the last thing she got was this big conch shell and gave it to him for his birthday. I mean, it was huge. It was just huge. And so Ben would go over to different boats to play with friends, and when he wanted to get picked up in the dinghy, he'd blow in the conch shell. Pretty cool. Well, my girlfriend wrote a book, Dr. Hester Rumberg, 10 Degrees of Reckoning. Hester was my daughter's godmother and a very, very dear friend and a sailor. And she wanted to do this, and I wanted to write a book, but I'm not a writer. And she asked if she can write it without me reading it till it was done. In a way, it was like a lot about trust and friendship, and it was really interesting reading it. It's an incredible story. It's almost unbelievable what happened, but it's happened to me. I met a new friend, and her son was just starting glass school in Wanganui, Justin Kalina, and she and I decided we should learn some glass and try and impress her son. And so we were reading a Bead and Button magazine, and we saw an ad from Arrow Springs saying everything you need to learn how to make glass beads. So we ordered everything you needed to make glass beads, and we taught ourselves. So we had 2 torches and a little kiln in my garage. And then I decided to try and make it into a little business, which got bigger and bigger because I bought a commercial building in New Zealand. Well, my business was called Annie Rose Limited. It's a memorial to my daughter, who passed away in the collision. And then I started playing around with fusing, and then I came to Bullseye and took some classes and went back and started teaching fusing. So we had a fusing slumping studio for 12 students and glass bead making for 12 students, setting up studios for people all over New Zealand. I'm still recovering. Glass is like my happy place. Glass is, I can forget everything else in my life. If I'm having a really bad day, I just go to the studio and it makes me so happy. Melting glass, just creating everything. Everything about glass is so relaxing to me. Just this last Mother's Day, it's one of the worst days of the year for me, and I just go in my studio and I get lost in glass, and I feel more whole. When I go into the glass studio, time goes so fast. It just, oh my gosh, I've been in here for 5 hours. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. It's a retreat, it's a distraction, but for me, creating is the best therapy in the world. I feel like every time I come out of the studio, I go, I love my studio. This is the best part. This is the best thing, yeah.